Hello, from Northworthy, Sagas and Stories. Please leave us a comment. I am Njal Sigmundson, a storyteller, a Scot. Some of the stories I tell regard and concern the gods and goddesses, but some, well, they concern the Vikings who lived here on Midgard. Vikings who became legends. One such Viking was a man called Egil Skallagrimsson, a great warrior, but also a great poet, as you will see as this story unfolds. And the story I will tell you today is Egil meets Ljot. Now Egil had just concluded business with King Harald of Norway over a land dispute which had been settled favourably for Egil. So afterwards he and his companions got in their ship and travelled south along the coast of Norway till they came to the islands of Moor. Now Egil wanted to stop there and visit a friend of his, a woman called Gyda. She was the sister of chieftain Arnbjorn, Egil's greatest friend and oath-sworn brother. She made them very welcome when they arrived, but Egil said they would only stop the night and be off again in the morning. But then the weather drew in, and they were forced to stay there for a few days until the weather broke. But they were well entertained, fed well, and they were in high spirits, Egil and his 11 companions. And on the morning when they were to depart, well, they left the longhouse and they were getting ready. Now Egil noticed that Gyda and her son Fridgir were deep in conversation. So he turned to the young girl. He thanked her for the hospitality, but said to her, "You know," he said, "of all the time we've been here, I've never seen you cheerful once, never seen you smile or anything. Whatever is the matter?" With that, the young girl burst into tears and ran back into the longhouse. Then Egil overheard Fridgir saying to his mother, "I cannot ask them of them now, not that they're about to leave." "Ask me what?" said Egil. Then Gyda came over to him. "I will tell you," she said. "We are cursed. There's a man going around, a berserk and a jeweller, called Ljot. He's been going round these islands, challenging all the landowners to duels. And those that he has killed, well, as you know, he can claim their land, all their possessions. And he has become very wealthy in land and movable goods. And only the other week he came here to our farmstead, asking for my daughter's hand in marriage. We gave him a short, swift answer, no. It was then he challenged my son Fridgir to a duel, which is to be fought tomorrow on the island of Valdero. Now I know if my brother, Chieftain Arnbjorn, was here, we would not have to put up with the brutality of men like Ljot. And I would very much like it for you to go with him tomorrow, if you could." Egil said, "Gyda, I am honour and duty bound to do this. I will go with him if you think it will help." Gyda said, "You will be doing us a great service. Now let us drink." So they went back inside and feasted all evening. But of course the next day was the day of the duel between Fridgir and the berserk Ljot. So they made their way to the island of Valdero, a small island but with a large green pleasant field, the top of which were stone markers set out in a big circle. This was to be the combat arena. Egil could see Ljot at the top of the hill with his friends. Already he was going into his berserk rage, began chewing the edge of his shield. Now Egil could see he was a big, strong-looking man, and he looked over at Fridgir, slenderly built, though handsome-looking, but he had never fought a battle in his life. So Egil made this verse: "Fridgir's sure to fail, so my friends, let's fight. Protect this young girl against this Valkyrian-maddened, shield-swallowing villain. the glaring god-feaster goes to his own death. Ljot heard this and called back, "You there, big man, come and face me if you're all that keen. You'd be more of a match for me than Fridgeir. I wouldn't think any more of myself for laying him out flat." Then Egil made this verse. "It's not fair to refuse Ljot this little favour. I'll play swinging the sword with this sallow-faced man. He hasn't a hope. I'll hack him down when I'm ready. At this massacre at Moor, no mercy from the poet." Egil made his way up to the combat arena. He carried his usual shield, by his side with his sword Adder, in his hand the sword Dragvendil. By the time he reached the markers, Ljot was still not ready. So Egil made this verse. "Let us strike with a sword flash, to shatter the shield, to batter the blade, till the enemy bleeds. I'll play with the pale man, pitch him to earth, stop his mouth with steel, serve him up as carrion." With this, the two men rushed at each other, striking hard. But Egil began to pound away so hard that Ljot had to back away to find room to strike. But Egil kept pressing him harder and further, and ended up chasing Ljot all over the field and outside the stone markers. This was how the first bout ended. Then Egil sat down because Ljot had asked for a rest, which he granted. So he sat and he made this verse. "I feel this flashing swordsman falls back when I force him. He's afraid, this unfortunate overfed fighter. The blood-sucking battler backs away from my blows and beats a retreat from the bald-headed bard." So the second bout began. Again they rushed at each other, but Egil was pounding hard until Ljot's shield became useless, and Egil sliced off Ljot's leg just above the knee. Ljot fell dead flat on the ground. Egil walked over to Fridgeir in his company. They thanked him warmly for what he had done. Then Egil made this verse. The foul wolf feeder fell flat to the ground. The leg of Ljot lanced off by the bard. This poet gave Fridgeir peace, but seeks no payment. This play with a pale man was a pleasure to me. And so ends the story of Egil kills Ljot. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and click on the notification bell. Thank you.